Well, hello, and welcome to the NX7062 podcast. And oh, it says pre-recorded because I am absolutely 100% not pre-recorded. I am all the lives tonight, and I am actually on a very different platform. So you guys are going to bear with me because I am actually testing it right now. This Chroma Cam thing, I cannot figure out how to get rid of. I know what Chroma Cam is. What I didn't realize is how it worked with the background on this until literally just this second. So you guys are gonna have to bear with me, and I'm advertising for Chroma Cam, which actually is really nice if you don't have a green screen and you don't want to go through the entire thing of having a green screen. Chroma Cam is terrific. Because it actually will drop a background onto anything. It's just not as crisp and clear as you can see. I kind of look like a ghost, don't I? All right, we're not sure if we're going to stay with these guys right now. Like I said, I tried them out last week. I wasn't 100% with them last week. I might, decide to jump back to my previous platform, but we'll see. I'm all about giving new stuff a try. Oh, I should be on YouTube. I should be on YouTube. Let me double check. It says that I'm on YouTube. And this is showing me on YouTube. This is really interesting, guys. Wow. I'm gonna, like, if I'm not on YouTube, I'm getting my money back. I'm getting my monies back. Let me look, because I should definitely be on YouTube. How much fun is this? Don't you just love it when you're doing like new shit? So much fun. Let's see. My channel. I'm gonna look for myself on YouTube. Oh, no, don't need John Billingsley right now. Wow, that is really weird. I don't. Wow, 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 wow. See, let's see. Thank you, Nancy, for pointing that out, because that really. I'm looking, Nancy. Like I said, I don't know. It's supposed to be linked to my. I know I signed up for it. Wow, this sucks, guys. This really sucks. Let's see. Dashboard content live. Let's see. It should be listed, and it is not. Wow. Nancy, I don't know. This might just have to be Facebook right now, because it doesn't look like there's. I mean, it says I'm on YouTube. It literally is giving me all the YouTube stuff. It's saying that I am. Oh, hold on. All right, I get it now. I see what it did. Let me see. Hold on, guys. All right, I see what it did. It went to the wrong YouTube channel. Yep, it went to the wrong YouTube channel. All right. Stupid. Okay. So there's the YouTube channel for anybody that's interested. It's on my personal page. I do have two YouTube channels. I will move it over to the NX7062. I don't know if I can stop and start again, so I really don't want to do that. But it is streaming to my other YouTube channel. This sucks. All right. But we figured it out. And Nancy is here, which is a good thing, because Nancy, I'm really starting to think that I made the mistake leaving my other thing, but this was cheaper, and then you always get what you pay for. And yes, I hope you can hear me, because I am saying that, because right now I am so totally disgusted. But the YouTube thing is probably my fault for not catching where it was going. So that's the YouTube link for all you let's see, hold on. Let's try this. For all you people on Facebook that want to head over, or you're missing it, in fact, guys, bear with me, because I'm going to do this real quick, because you guys know that nothing, just such is life in my world, right, guys? Last week I couldn't be live. Now I'm finally back live on this amazing new platform, and it's not cooperating. So let's see if I can do this real quick for everybody that. All right, perfect. Post this. YouTubing tonight. Like I said, it's always fun to test new stuff out, and I will tell you why I didn't notice this earlier. In 2 seconds. Why I didn't notice this earlier. I'm just waiting for this to post. Go. And it went. Okay. Hey, Robert. Hi, Nancy. Welcome. Tonight's show was actually Nancy's idea because this is what happens when you become I'm like so ghostly. It's kind of cool. When you become a Patreon member, you get to help me plan my shows. So Nancy came up with some really great suggestions, and that means I didn't have to think of things. I just checked out one of her suggestions. So if you become an NX7062 patron, part of your subscription, no matter what tier, is that you get to help me pick my shows and plan my shows. Why I was so late and didn't get a chance to realize the challenge with YouTube was because I was changing my flight for LA for the Shuttlepod Show live event, so I could get in a little earlier, because things are going to be amazing. Be on the lookout for updates, etc., etc., etc. Probably not going to get any updates here right now because they're off doing their thing right now. Shuttlepod Show, we're getting close to the wire. It's less than a month away. It starts on February 10th. It's going to be amazing. As always, make sure you follow Shuttlepod Show on all of the socials, and you will get all the information about their live event coming up in LA. But yeah, I decided that I wanted to try and get in earlier. And a couple weeks ago when I tried, the flights were actually more expensive just to change my one flight out of Philly. But tonight, by miracle of miracles, it was actually cheaper. So by changing my flight, American actually owed me money. So I've got money to put towards my ticket to Vegas, which I'm really excited about. But that's why I'm late. That's why this all looks like this, because I didn't really have a chance to sit down and play with it too much before we started. So anyway, anybody that's over on YouTube is now getting themselves acquainted with my Stephanie K personal channel. And as soon as this is done and recorded, I'm going to upload it to my regular YouTube channel so everybody can see it. So let's see. What else? Oh, I wanted to, since there's no Star Trek on live, but I muted you. And since there's no new Star Trek right now, we're kind of in a hiatus. Picard is coming back next month. It's premiering on the 16th. So that is also less than a month away. But since we've got all this new stuff coming up, but we don't have it now, I decided I wanted to get kind of back into sharing fun Trek news that I, might have come over on my phone somehow. Because my phone obviously knows me really well. So sometimes Google likes to share things with me. And there are a couple of really great articles on Screen Rant that you guys should definitely check out. One of them is Star Trek, every version of the Enterprise explained, which I think is an absolutely fabulous idea, because everybody's always complaining that the NX-01 looks too new compared to the NCC-1701, which was, came after it. And why is that? And anybody that has ever had any questions about why any of the Enterprises look the way they do, and I'm sure I skimmed it real quick. I'm sure the Discovery Enterprise. Oh, sorry, Rob. Do you usually watch me on TV? Oh, I love that. I watch Magic Lasso on TV. I watch Magic Lasso. Which I should probably tell Magic Lasso where I am, in case, because I wore this shirt hoping that he would show up tonight. I don't know where he's at. But, oh my gosh, hold on. Okay, so that is a really great article, because, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've always heard complaints about why the Enterprises look different. And I've always, it's just all about when they're created. Like, you can't take a ship, you can't take the NX-01 and make it look worse than the NCC-1701, because it's the difference between 1966. Hey, hello. How are you this evening? I'm trying to read. I'm terrible. I really need my Deborah. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Deborah. Welcome. Sorry, I actually wear glasses now. I just don't like to wear them on the show. So I had to double check your name. Anyway, Deborah, welcome. So it's the difference between, yep, you know what? Yep, I like doing that too. I like throwing my stuff up on the big screen and YouTube. See, that's why I use the YouTube app on my TV. I don't yeah, I use a YouTube app. That's actually when I was babysitting for my cousins or when I was dog sitting for my cousins last week, they have like this giant ass TV. I don't even know how many inches it is. It's beautiful and it's huge and it was the best way to watch Trek Talks too. So that was a lot of fun. But okay, so yeah, so the Enterprise stuff, I mean, like I said, a lot of it just has to do with when the series happens. You know, obviously if Gene Roddenberry had 2000 technology in 1966, then his Enterprise would probably look more like the Enterprise in Discovery, which is the NCC 1701. The other really fun article I found was every Star Trek character saved by the transporters. And I was going to run through that list. I mean, obviously they use Scotty's face. They use Scotty's face, and I was like, yeah, because Scotty TNG, that whole episode, that's the one that obviously pops in everybody's mind. But they started the article with all the reasons people hated the transporter, like um like the weird transporter accidents where you got two Rikers and two Boimlers, or the very controversial Tuvix, or in Star Trek the motion picture when those two people got completely mutilated by the transporter, and that's how we got Spock back on the Enterprise, because their science officer got all mangled, and you know what came back didn't live very long, thankfully. So it started out with that, and then obviously it was going to, and then of course don't forget everybody on Enterprise was leery because the transporter technology was brand spanking new, and you find out that the guy that invented the transporter, his son was basically, you know, dots and dashes and binary code or whatever floating around in some weird nether region. So there are a lot of reasons to hate the transporter that they listed, and then it's like, but hey, here's how the transporter saved people. So those were two fun articles I wanted to recommend. Let's see. So Shuttlepod Show, I've got two shows to catch up on because I didn't review one last week. How amazing was Denise Crosby? How absolutely, utterly, freaking incredibly amazing was Denise? She got so comfortable. First of all, she looked amazing. She looked comfortable. I wanted her outfit. No lie, I wanted her outfit right down to those amazing shoes. So, but she got, you know, everybody gets so comfortable um, with the setup that they have, and how, you know, everybody feels so welcome and it's just so casual. It makes it so much easier to hold those conversations and get the stars to kind of open up and talk. But again, she was absolutely fantastic. I've met her. I met her on the one and only Star Trek cruise. Sorry about that. I met her on the one and only Star Trek cruise that I did, which was 2019, and I was so grateful that I had a chance to tell her this because, yeah, Chroma Cam. Hi, Lasso. Look at the shirt, though. You can see the shirt, right? Yeah, don't ask. You missed the whole beginning where I was telling everybody that this is a new platform, and I did not realize they were going to stick this in front of my virtual background. So it looks like we're going back to the green screen. I'm testing all this new stuff, and I was late, so I didn't realize I couldn't fix it until all this happened. I knew you would love the shirt. I found it, and I thought I have to wear it just for you. Oh yay! I'm on the big screen for Robert. Woohoo! Me and my ghostly images. Um, in 2017, when I worked the last official Star Trek convention in New Jersey, and I worked the microphone for Denise's Q&A, and somebody, basically some guy that did have some experience in community theater, tried to give Denise an acting lesson. Asked her a question about, well, don't you lose yourself in your characters or something along those lines? And Denise is like, no, you always try and find a commonality with the characters you play and yourself. So, you know, you find something, you know, to bring yourself into your character. And the guy basically started to debate her about acting. Okay. And she handled it so beautifully and so diplomatically, and you know, and I finally, when I met her very briefly on the cruise, I actually finally had a chance to tell her, um, how wonderful I thought her answer was and how great she was and how, her composure and everything in answering. And she actually said, really? She's like, I said, no, you were perfect. I thought you were amazing. So I love it when I get to, give news like that to people, because remember, actors are people too. And, when we all get in those sticky situations and we have to answer questions or figure things out and you don't know how to approach it. And then no matter who you are, it's always nice to hear somebody who was on the outside tell you, even 2 years later, hey, you know what? You were amazing and you handled it perfectly. And I was really impressed. The other fun thing that I did with Denise, and I would love to remind her about this one of these days. I was singing karaoke, and it was Connor Katrina karaoke, and I wanted to sing Me and Bobby McGee. Such a great song. It was the worst version of this song I have ever heard. Like, it was terrible. And Denise was sitting at the foot of the stage, because the stage, you had a couple steps to get to the stage. So Denise is sitting at the foot of the stage helping me. Like, we're singing there, and she starts with the na-na-nas, and it was amazing, and I loved it. And I had so much fun with Denise sitting there, and Connor and I trying to have some fun with the song. And it was only very, very, very recently that I found out that version is, believe it or not, the Gordon Lightfoot version, which I didn't even know Gordon Lightfoot did. And I love Gordon Lightfoot. Did not realize he did a version of Me and Bobby McGee. And I heard it on Sirius on the bridge or something, and I went, why is it that I think that out of all the versions of that song that the ship could have gotten for karaoke, they got the little known Gordon Lightfoot version, as opposed to, I don't know, maybe the person who sang it that made it famous. I don't know, but whatever. So anyway, that's my Denise Crosby story. She's awesome. I also have a Michael Dorn story. So had a lot of fun watching Michael Dorn. I loved the fact that they sang Your Song for half a beat, because it's one of my favorite songs. I loved it. And then Ewan McGregor sang it in Moulin Rouge, and I ended up loving it even more. It's one of the very rare instances where I like a song or the remake as opposed to the original version. I love Elton John, but Ewan McGregor, if you ever have a chance, look it up on Spotify. Ewan McGregor does an incredible version of Your Song. And to hear Dominic and Dorn sing it was amazing. Michael Dorn is, again, a fantastic storyteller. The whole casual, laid back, it just really makes you open up. People in the chats have a problem, I think, sometimes with people talking over each other. But I mean, I do it too, because my interview style is exactly the same. It's a conversation. And you name me one time when you're in a group with your friends. Be honest with yourselves. You don't have to tell me here, but be honest with yourselves. Name me one time when you're in a conversation with your friends and you get excited about something or you want to share something and you step on somebody. That's what we call it when you're interviewing. You step on somebody while they're still talking. It happens. And it happens when you're having these conversations because you're not doing, yeah, exactly. And that's why I like it. That's exactly it. It's casual, it's real. And like I said, because you can't name me one time when you haven't been in a group of people or even in a one-on-one conversation where you haven't been excited about something and accidentally stepped on somebody while they're still talking that's the style. And it's perfect and it's casual and it allows people to open up, as opposed to just here's my list of questions. In the episode XYZ on Deep Space Nine, what was your motivation? Like, that's not what this is. And that's what I love about it so much. They don't seem to get that it's not a formal interview, it's more of a group of friends. Exactly. The people that yell is the wrong word. The people that mention it in the chats are not understanding what it is. And that's fine, because you know what? This kind of casual back and forth is not everybody's cup of tea. But if you start to stop thinking of it as an interview show and start thinking of it as you're a fly on the wall at a party, then that's very different. And that's what they go for. And that's what I go for, which is why whenever anybody that I have on my show, Rod Ronberry is the perfect example. When Rod and I were trying to schedule things, we were going back and forth. And he said, well, how long is it? And I said, well, however long it ends up being. I said, when I'm by myself, I said, I'm usually about 30 minutes at least. I said, but when I have somebody on, it goes until it's done, until there's a natural end or somebody has to leave. I mean, I've had Mohammed Noor on, and I'd love to have him back. I'll have to talk to him. I've had Mohammed on a few times, and he has like a bedtime and he has to get up early, and he'll be like, I need to be done by. So then, yeah, there's an urgency and maybe slightly more formal format. But especially when I'm interviewing people out in California, unless like John Billingsley had to go have dinner with Bonnie, um, you know, it's over when it's over. Conversations always have an organic end, unless you're on the phone with me. Then I will say goodbye and then still talk for 20 minutes. And I think Magic Lasso can attest to that. But it is what it is. I mean, it's definitely a better way to get a better story out of somebody. Because, and the other thing I told Rod is, you tell me what you don't want to talk about. I tell this to everybody. If there's something you don't want to talk about, then it's here. But otherwise, I'm just loosey goosey in it, putting down a couple things that I find on the internet, and then whatever comes up, comes up. And that works so much better. And if you guys listened to last week, back in 2019, when I talked to Connor, I mean, yeah, we talked about some of this stuff and I had questions about, you know, what he was doing. But then we got, again, like you see on the Shuttle Pod show, we got into this amazing conversation about acting as a craft. And I always have those so much fun. Hey, okay, well, here's the thing. I am so glad you found me, but this is not really where I'm supposed to be, Puka. But I'm so glad you found me. But yeah, there was a screw up with my new format, and I'm actually broadcasting on one of my other channels. But yay, Puka! Yay, Puka. You know what I'm going to do? This is what I'm going to do for everybody, because this is where I will be. Like, this is where I always am. And this was just, like I said, this was just something that got really goofy and really screwed up. And you know what? The other thing I do, I always, always, always take responsibility for my actions. So you will please, please, please forgive me that I screwed this up for y'all. But here we go. Okay. So I am posting, Puka, this is for you, basically, but go subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That is where I am, except for tonight, because I screwed up and I attached this new thing to something else. So anyway, that is my YouTube channel. Thank you, Puka. Yes, exactly. Things happen. That's the polite way of saying what I would say, and which I can, because this is marked off as not for children. But thank you, Puka, for understanding. But that is where I'd love everybody to subscribe. That is my real YouTube channel, and I will do something to put this up so that it is accessible where it needs to be. But you should also subscribe to Magic Lasso's channel, by the way, if you're a comic book person. I actually dropped by one of Magic Lasso's live streams last night, and noticed Tony Fett. Well, Tony Fett's probably in the wrong place, Lasso, if you want to tell him where you can find me. But yeah, his partner last night that they were talking on screen. Turns out Tony Fett has got a ton of Star Trek comics, and he has no idea what they are. So I'm bumping for an AOK from Tony Fett. You're very welcome, Lasso. Anytime, anytime, anytime. This is where you will find him. He is Magic Lasso for obvious reasons. And if you are a fan of comic books, and don't forget Star Trek. Oh, I just got a splinter from my desk. It's been an interesting evening. Star Trek does come in comic books. I don't know how to get this to show up. But this is the only Star Trek comic I own. And yeah, you can tell whoever that was, Lasso, that he was right. It is the Marvel version. I have the Marvel Comics group, Star Trek the Motion Picture, the very star-studded first issue. And it's only part of the movie. So, yeah, but Tony Fett's got a ton. So yeah, tell him if he's looking for a home, he can hit me up, Lasso. Anyway, so Michael Dorn, my Michael Dorn story. So Michael Dorn's on the Shuttle Pod show. We all got a peek at the 2-hour patron version, which is awesome, which is what you get. If you become a patron of the Shuttle Pod show, you get these extended versions. Well, yeah, exactly. They need to sell more issues. You're not going to put an entire movie in one comic book. I get it. So we all got the 2-hour extended version. If you're not a patron of the Shuttle Pod show, then you should be, because that's one of the bonuses you'll get. And I believe that they give the Tribble the entire episode off. I believe those are uncut, unedited. So I haven't watched one yet. No, I did. I take that back. I watched Nicole's. For me, what you get if you're one of my patrons, because this is live, 99.9% of the time, I can't do extended versions, but like I did last week, when I do a recorded version, if you're a patron, you get to see it first. So you don't have to stay up till 10 o'clock, which of course I appreciate y'all being here. And obviously you don't get the live chat if you miss a live premiere, but if you want to sneak peek, you'll always be able to see early stuff. And like Nancy did, she got to pick tonight's topic, which I promised Nancy we are going to get to. But my Dorney story, and then we'll get into it. My Michael Dorn story. When you go on Star Trek The Cruise, okay, they offer excursions with the actors. So obviously any cruise, anybody that's been on a cruise, or if you haven't, there are excursions. Swim with the dolphins, go pet a stingray, go horseback riding, which is something I did. Go horseback riding in Jamaica. There's a whole bunch of different activities when the ships are in port that you can sign up to do. Now, of course, they cost money. So what Star Trek The Cruise does is they have specialized excursions that include cast members. So when I was on Star Trek The Cruise, me and my friends, we all wanted to go swim with the stingrays. Chase Masterson was the celebrity host and we all knew Chase. We loved Chase, but we didn't need, leave that, let people that don't know Chase and want to hang out with Chase. You guys go swim with Chase, hang with Chase, and go the stingray thing. We'll just go on the regular stingray excursion, which of course was a couple bucks cheaper. And we're like, we'll just go on the regular stingray excursion, save a couple bucks, because that's really what we wanted to do. So we get on the stingray boat and we're heading out to where you go meet the stingrays. And who the hell is on our boat but none other than Michael Dorn. So we saved the money on the excursion with the celebrity, still got a celebrity. He was hysterical. I almost drowned because the water was not quite shallow enough for somebody that's only 5'3" to stand when the waves came through. I did get to kiss a stingray, which was supposed to be 7 years of good luck, which actually doesn't expire until 2026. So I still have a couple years left. So I'm not going to cross my fingers. Let's hope the stingray luck is still hanging out somewhere, waiting to. I'm feeling like it might be right now. Like I said, I got a cheaper flight to LA, save some money. So I'm feeling like the stingray luck is probably starting to float around. It was worth the wait. Thank you, stingrays. But I did. If you have to kiss it, you have to kiss the stingray to get the luck. But anyway, yeah. So it was just really fun to be getting to go somewhere with Michael Dorn, and not have to pay the extra money. So that was my Michael Dorn story. Okay. So, and one more thing about Dorney. Mark was so close to giving Land of the Lost a shout out, and he missed it by one word. Walter Koenig, as far as I know, did not write for Land of the Giants. He wrote for Land of the Lost. One word. And trust me, I work for both of them. I'm friends with and work with people from both shows, and I still have to stop myself before I finish that sentence or before I finish that title to make sure that I'm saying of the properly. So he missed it by that much. It was Land of the Lost, not Land of the Giants. Because remember, he created Enoch, which was the only nice Sleestak out of all the Sleestaks. Okay, so now we can move on to tonight's topic, which is Star Trek moms. I had one reply to my Facebook post. Somebody voted their favorite mom is Keiko. Land of the Lakes does equal butter. And it's actually the butter I use. So good on you there, Lasso. So there are so many. So, and and it's so funny because I was sitting here trying to think of which ones I wanted to talk about. There's actually a quiz on Heroes and Icons, the TV channel. They have all these quizzes for all their shows. So there's a Star Trek moms quiz. Can you name all these moms? What was funny was I did my research before I took the quiz, so I got 10 out of 10 on the quiz. There's only one that I might have missed on. But, when you think of Star Trek moms, I mean, you don't just think of like the two-legged humanoid moms. Because, I mean, Devil in the Dark, the Horta, was one of the first Star Trek moms we were introduced to. I mean, we were introduced to Amanda, Spock's mom in Journey to Babel, but we were also introduced to the Horta. And that was such a fantastic episode. In fact, it made, TrekMovies.com's top 10. The Horta made the top 10. Because that was the first example of, judging a book by its cover, and your own, and everybody sees things through their own personal blinders. Why would any human ever think that this big chunk of slab was not only sentient, but a mother? And the only reason that she was killing people was for the same reason that any other creature would kill, would be to protect her children. So why would, so that was just a great first that was a really in-depth look at our own personal biases and how people see life through their own lenses, and not anybody except Spock, who was finally able to mind meld with her, was able to completely comprehend. So, once the miners understood everything, then they came to a meeting of the minds, but they were able to come to, to a resolution, because they put their biases aside. So Horta made it to the top 10. Obviously, Amanda, Spock's mom, is a classic. She's been portrayed in TOS, in the animated series, in Discovery. The actress who plays her in Discovery, her name is on the tip of my tongue, and I loved her so much in The L Word. Now I can't think of who it is, but I was very happy to see her playing. I thought she did a fantastic Amanda in Discovery. So Amanda, we've seen Amanda in the movies. I mean, come on, she had a great, it was a very small part, but come on, Star Trek IV Voyage Home, I thought was a fantastic way to bring her, back. Beverly, of course, we can't forget Beverly Crusher, the first Starfleet mom, pretty much. Yes, I am getting to, yes, absolutely. I met Susanna Cassidy a couple times. She's awesome. Love her. But yeah, what is that? Tayless? I always forget her name. Tayless. Tayless is awesome. Lwaxana is the most prolific mom. Absolutely. Probably my favorite. Lwaxana is definitely my favorite. But Beverly was the one that paved the way. She was the first mom on the ship with a kid. Getting there too, Nancy. Getting there too. That is absolutely on my list. Because, this list that I got from Trek Movie cracked me up, because, it took the term mom very broadly, which is great. Because sometimes you don't pick your mom. You don't have a biological mom, and sometimes the relationship between two people can definitely be mother to child. And that was what put Janeway on the list. The relationship Janeway had with Seven of Nine put her on this top 10 list for top 10 Star Trek moms. And I went, wait a minute. But what about her lizard biological children that she abandoned on that planet? Now, that's not bad for somebody that barely watches Voyager. But it's like, yay, yes, she was, I'm not sure I'd say mom as much as mentor, but she definitely had a very nurturing relationship with Seven, bringing her back to her humanity. But she did leave a bunch of her and Tom Paris's lizard kids on that planet. So I don't know, Janeway. Does 1 7 of 9 make up for all those abandoned babies that you left on that planet? Cassidy Yates is also an amazing example of you don't get to pick your mom. Jake Sisko obviously lost his mother. And when Cassidy came into the picture, she became his mom, and very organically. The relationship wasn't forced. Her relationship with Ben became a relationship within a family unit. And if you really want to, we're going to get some more Deep Space Nine in a second. I'm just kind of glancing down at my list. Carol Marcus, who I would have forgotten maybe, except for that list. Carol Marcus, David's mom. Can she cook or can't she? Come on. That was a great line. I loved her character in Wrath of Khan. She was great. And to find out, Kirk, for all the women and all the broken hearts across the galaxy, Kirk had somebody that got away. And not only did she get away, but so did his son. Lwaxana. You can't talk about Star Trek moms. And look at it this way. Majel Barrett herself was kind of like a mom to all of Star Trek. She'd been there from the literal beginning. So, I mean, yes, Lucille Ball is like the godmother of Star Trek, but I don't see how you can't consider Majel Barrett like the mom of the entire series. I mean, between TOS and then Lwaxana and then the voices of all of the computers that she's ever done, she is just straight a mom of Star Trek as well as just a fantastic character. Um, you know, she runs the gamut between completely embarrassing her daughter to just being right there, right by her side when she absolutely needs it. She was a great mother figure for a very short time to Alexander. She imparted some maternal wisdom onto Alexander and, you know, tried to help Mr. Wolf raise his son. So I think just she's so complex. Every episode, every time you see her for the first time in an episode, you never know what you're going to get. But deep down in her heart, she was always, no matter how free of a spirit she was and how outlandishly she lived her life, when it came down to it, she loved Deanna to the ends of the earth and back, and or to the ends of Beta Z and back, and she would have done anything for her. So that's one of the reasons why, besides just her big personality, she's definitely a number one mom in my book. Another TNG mom we can't forget is Helena Rozhenko. Come on, a human mom taking in, yes, that's right. She married Odo to keep another child. She suffered the greatest loss any mother could ever face. She also lost a child. So she's just incredible. That was what, when she got emotional, when she had those deep emotional moments, when she was telling Deanna about the daughter that she lost, or when Timmonson when Timmonson David Ogden Stiers, there's my MASH tie-in. MASH ran both ways, by the way. David Ogden Stiers, who was Charles Emerson Winchester on MASH, was on TNG, and James Cromwell, who played Zephram Cochrane, was on MASH. So the crisscrossing with the MASH went both ways. But that deep love that she had for Timmonson, those were some of her best scenes when she broke down. Yes, that is a mom. If you're going to learn to cook, if you're a human and you're going to learn to cook Klingon, see, this is one of the reasons actually that I really want to stay with this platform. I like these lower thirds. They're really, really cool. And yep, Kira had to be a surrogate mom because Nana was going to be a real mom. That episode, one of the episodes was just on last night when I was falling asleep. That's the episode I fell asleep to, was the one that Nana mentioned in her shuttle pod episode, where she was talking about that little nod that the writers let her give to Sid when she said, "This is all your fault." And she, you know, Kira was talking to Bashir, but Nana could also be ribbing Sid. So that episode was on last night. But yeah. And again, I mean, that's an amazing gift. That kind of mother is an amazing gift. Somebody that's willing to carry a baby and then give it up. Yep, that's where it was. That's where I was falling asleep to. HNI. That's my go-to. I switched to DirecTV streaming just so I could have HNI back. Because Comcast, never had Comcast. I had HNI through this Fugazi app that ended up getting itself in trouble. And I lost HNI that way because I never had it on my personal streaming services because I was always using the wrong streaming service. I don't want boxes, so I wasn't going to go back to Comcast, and their independent streaming platform sucks. But then DirecTV ends up having HNI, so I am on DirecTV literally for HNI, because not only do you get Star Trek 6 nights a week, you get Wonder Woman Saturdays and Sundays. They better be going back, by the way, they better be going back to the World War II episodes, because I think they just finished season 3. So I haven't looked that up yet. But Wonder Woman, they used to have The Greatest American Hero. Their Saturday mornings used to be so much better because you used to also have The Greatest American Hero. Speaking of aliens, but I love The Greatest American Hero. Such a great show. So much fun. Such fun. So yeah, so Helena Rozhenko was an amazing mom because, again, yeah, there you go, Lasso. Because again, just cartoon heroes. Not sure exactly what you mean. It's like that's jiggling something in the back of my head, but Nancy, but if you want to expound on that, because it's not quite clicking. Tayless was an interesting mother figure. Just watching her and T'Pol interact. And it's the first time that we saw like a Vulcan on Vulcan relationship. You know, the relationship with Amanda and Spock was really interesting because watching her try to deal with her son who wasn't emotional, who wanted to be Vulcan, who kind of wanted to shun the half of him that was her. So that relationship was always very interesting. And Journey to Babel, which I just watched actually the other day, caught it. Oh right, yep. Wonder Woman, Greatest American Hero is just what's on Saturday AM. Yep, exactly. Now it's it's comic book heroes. H&I is billing it as comic book heroes because on Sundays you get 2 back-to-back episodes of Batman, Wonder Woman, and then for whatever reason, Superman gets the most time. There's like 4 or 5, like, yeah, and then Superman gets like 6 episodes or something ridiculous like that. Kalar. Yeah. Okay. Kalar. Kalar. That was Worf's mate, right? Remember, I suck with names. Kalar, yes, she was awesome. It's the 1960s, 50s, and 60s. Yeah, it's George Reeves Superman. And by the way, yeah. Hey, I got one right. Kalar is Worf's mate, Alexander's mother. And for the short time that we knew her, yes, except for not telling Worf was kind of a dick move. She should have told Worf sooner. Just saying. For anybody that has not watched the George Reeves Superman TV show in a while, if you have H&I, tune in some Sunday morning. It starts at 11, but it goes to like 1. That Superman's a dick. Clark Kent's a dick. That version of Clark Kent is not a nice person. And I know it's the time. It's just the way he treats Lois, and again because it's the 50s. But yeah, he was a bit of a dick. I don't know about George personally, but the way they wrote Clark Kent, Clark was a bit of a dick. Just saying my own personal opinions. And you know what's really funny is while I was researching this and looking at this top 10 list, I saw Ishaka on this list. Now, I'm not going to tell you who Ishaka is, but I'm going to give you guys in the chats a chance. If anybody can tell me who Ishaka, I think I'm pronouncing that right, Ishaka, Ishka. Anybody can tell me what mother in Star Trek that is, I will be very impressed. So I'm going to give you all a minute, and I'm going to go talk about somebody that made it to the honorable mention list. Or actually, let's try this. Gracie, the humpback whale from Star Trek 4, from the whale movie, Gracie actually made the top 10 list of moms, which makes sense because she's bringing humpback. Her and her babies are about to save the earth. So yeah, on the top 10 list for that, I get you for getting on the top 10 list for that. So let's see. The original Superman show, the ones in black and white were filmed. He was wearing a brown costume because it looked more like blue on the. There we go. The Ferengi mom. Yes, the Ferengi mom, Quark's mom, better known as Moogie. See, that's why I didn't recognize her name because I'm so used to not knowing her name. All you hear when you see is Rom going Moogie, Moogie. So yeah, so it's Moogie, but I mean, no Lasso, sorry. Moogie, yeah, exactly. Who actually remembers her name because everybody just called her Moogie. Okay, so yes, Deanna Troi, who did not make the top 10 mom list because she was only a mother for a very short span of time. And it was the episode that opened the second season of TNG, where we all learned to hate Dr. Pulaski. Just saying, Dr. Pulaski annoyed me from the get-go. She could not have been gone soon enough, I swear. Honestly, that one episode where she got prematurely old, I was like, keep her on the planet. Just don't bring her back on the ship. I just never liked. That Prince woman IADC agent Deanna Prince. You, Lasso, yes. You get one of those because I'm wearing the shirt. Yeah, I know the transporter saved her. Just like that article said, I'm sure she's in that article that I mentioned on Screen Rant. The transporter saved her because pattern buffers and saving old patterns and rewriting people's DNA. Woohoo! They should have left her on the planet. Never liked Pulaski. One of my crewmates in Lambda Quadrant, absolutely 120% refuses to even recognize that there was a second season of TNG because Gates wasn't in it. She is a huge fan of Gates, and she loves Gates, and she ships Gates and Picard. So we're all looking forward to season 3 of Picard. There were rumblings, by the way, that Patrick was saying he would consider a 4th season. I guess now that he's, back in front of that green screen, he's having too much fun to let it go. I don't blame him, honestly. So that was Patrick saying, even though it was supposed to be 3 and out, but yeah, so Gates, yeah, I wanted Gates back. So remembering that Deanna was pregnant and it was Pulaski's first episode, but that was such an amazingly warm, interesting, emotional episode. Yeah, B'Elanna, that's right, forgot B'Elanna. I meant to put her on the list. No disrespect to Voyager, she was a mom. Thank you for reminding me. B'Elanna, yeah, B'Elanna was supposed to be carrying the savior of the Klingons at some point, wasn't she? There was a whole thing, they bumped into some Delta Quadrant Klingons and her baby was supposed to be the savior. I'm sorry, I know I'm messing with my hand because of where the splinter was. She was supposed to be some major savior. That baby was supposed, they disproved it, but yeah, that she was supposed to be some major savior. Okay, so there was Trek movie had an honorable mention list, and the only thing on the honorable mention list was the Enterprise D. Remember when that baby, whatever it was, attached itself to the nacelle it was feeding, it was sucking the energy out of the Enterprise because it thought the Enterprise was its mother, because what the Enterprise accidentally killed its mom. The only thing I remember from that episode is the whole sour the milk thing. So they changed the polarity or something, and then the thing, flew off to be with its other. They found its home. So the Enterprise D got an honorable mention, which I thought. Let's see. Didn't her blood hold the cure for the disease that those Klingons had? Oh, maybe that's what it was. Ooh, yeah, that sounds kind of familiar. That does sound like Janine, I don't know if you've caught any of my other shows, but I do not like Voyager. The only reason I know anything about Voyager is because I fall asleep to it on Heroes and Icons waiting for Enterprise. So I will bow to you on that one. It sounds familiar. If anybody else in the chat knows anything, let me know, but that does sound kind of familiar. But of course, we all know that the honorable mention that is missing that I would have picked, and I think you all would have too, or if you know me, you know where I'm going with this. Why is Trip Tucker not on this list? He was technically a mom. He was, oh, there you go. Thanks, Robert. That's what I love about throwing it to the chat. Always got somebody in the chat that's going to give the answer. So thanks for that, Robert. Trip Tucker was pregnant. I think he should have been included on this list. He was a surrogate, if you want to look at it that way. He was a surrogate for a while for, what's her name's baby. So I think Trip Tucker needs to be on the top moms list. Just saying. It's only fair. It is the Star Trek universe. Can't, the Horta, this isn't about, specifically females or humanoids. Could be anybody. Anybody could be a mom. Single parents do both roles. So why wasn't Trip on the honorable mention list? I know he wasn't pregnant for very long, but come on, the man grew nipples on his arm. He deserved some sort of honorable mention in the list of moms, if you ask me. So you guys can think of any other moms. I'm sure I missed. Like I said, Keiko got a vote from somebody that replied to my Facebook post. She was great. She was great. I mean, come on, Worf delivered the baby. Did they ever? I mean, I am still supposed to be doing my rewatch of Deep Space Nine. I'm just wondering if they ever mentioned that when Worf showed up on Deep Space Nine. Did anybody ever go back to the fact that Worf delivered Molly at some point? He babysat. I know he babysat for them after they had their second kid. But I mean, you have to admit, I mean, the O'Briens were pretty much the quote unquote nuclear family. You know, all the other it's great because you had the O'Briens married, 2 kids. You know, that's, you know, however you want to look at it, nuclear family, traditional family. But they were just one of so many other different families because then you had Rom and Nog, and then eventually Lita. You had Jake. Let's see. Oh yeah, her, the woman who said she was Data's mom because she was married to Dr. Sung when Data was created. That's right. Data had a mom. Didn't she end up being an android? I thought she ended up being an android. I thought. I don't remember. So many androids in that. But that was the other thing about Star Trek's representation of family. If you want to go a little off the mom topic, but kind of stay there. They really in all of it, you know, you had different, you know, like I said, people made different families. Worf became part of the House of Martok, and then Worf's wife showed up and, you know, read Jadzia the Riot Act. Yes, the crystalline entity. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, that was one cool villain, crystalline entity. Sarek and Amanda, you know, stayed married, but then that's the other interesting thing. Obviously, Sarek had a type because, you know, when Amanda, he obviously was going to outlive Amanda. He outlived Amanda and went with another. Spock had a stepmom, Perrin. I was on Perrin, but yeah. See, that's right. That's right. Yeah, she got in an accident, and they found out that she was an android. So androids can be moms. Data was a dad. Let's not forget Lal. Data was a dad. Which is the parent show to this one, Star Trek Dads. There seemed to be a lot of people that had daddy issues. Riker had an issue with his father. Tom Paris had an issue. T'Pol was a mom. That's right. T'Pol was a mom. Absolutely. How could I forget that? That episode killed me. Have you guys? I mean, you guys have all seen that Shuttle Pod episode. You've heard Connor's story about the baby dying, and he says babies because he keeps forgetting that by the time they shot it, they decided not to have twins. Could you imagine having? I mean, it was bad enough with Elizabeth dying, but could you imagine if it had been twins? Twice as hard. Straight to Paul was a mom. T'Pol being a mom was funny. That whole when she first met the baby and she's like, "Hello, I'm your mother. Like, I don't know what to do with you." That was pretty funny. For anybody that ever wanted to see how Vulcans interacted with their children, with their infants. But yeah, that's the other thing, you know, just, you know, IDIC was the tenets of IDIC is represented in how Star Trek showed families. Mothers, just mothers in general, like the different personalities, like, you know, you've got, there you go. Lurian. Puka. Who is that? Because it's not ringing any bells for me. I'd probably be really embarrassed when you tell me, but hit me up. So yeah, so that's the thing. It's like, and the range, like I said, like the range of different moms. Like I think everybody at some point could identify with some child parent something across all of the tracks. I mean, look, I mean Michael Burnham. Let's not forget Michael Burnham's time jumping mother and what she did to save, you know, to save the universe and save her kid. Second Enterprise alternate timeline. Oh, from E equals MC. Yep. Is that what we're talking about, or am I missing it? I don't know. Second Enterprise alternate timeline. trying. I'm trying. But I think there was Travis's mom. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of moms. Obviously we could sit here all night. I mean, yay, I got it. E equals yay me. I helps that one was on the other night too. But I like that episode. That was a really interesting episode. Oh. All right, Lasso. I hope you're still with me for this one. Hope you're still with me, Lasso. Because Eileen in Friday's Child, TOS wanted McCoy to be her child's mother. Yep. And that character who ended up slapping McCoy in the face and then getting slapped herself was played by none other than the most statuesque Julie Newmar. And Lasso and I are also big Batman fans, so Julie Newmar should. Yep, we talked about Tayless earlier. She was really interesting the way she was. Yeah, I always thought that was interesting the way she was talking to Paul about being more Vulcan and the tenets of Vulcan, and then turns out that she was one of the Sirenites. There we go. Yes, Julie Newmar. Meow. Julie Newmar was in an original episode of TOS. She was also in an episode of The Monkees. Julie Newmar was everywhere in the 60s. She was amazing. And statuesque. That's one of my favorite lines from To Wong Fu, is that first time when Patrick Swayze sees that picture of her through his compact. That was such a great movie. Anybody that has not seen To Wong Fu is missing out. See, we could do like 12 episodes just on moms if you wanted to sit down and go, because every episode at some point I think had some. I have met Julie. Julie is amazing. If anybody has a chance to go to Rhode Island Comic-Con, go just to talk to Julie Newmar. She will engage you in conversation. I had an absolutely lovely conversation with her when I got her to sign my Batman Bat book a few years ago at Chiller. It was Adam West, Burt Ward, and Julie, and I already had Burt Ward, so all I needed was Adam and Julie, and I have the official Batman Bat book, which is a guide to all the episodes. And so I had her sign on my favorite episode. All right, Lasso, pay attention to this one too. And pay attention to this one too, Lasso. My favorite episode of Batman is That Darn Catwoman. And then the second episode is Scat Darn Catwoman. That's what you were missing, Lasso, was That Darn Catwoman. With the one and only Leslie Gore of It's My Party fame. I remember Julie Newmar purloined a catalog to cause a catastrophe and drove away in her Cat-a-lag. Then she bought Batman with Catronate. Yes, we all love. She is the one and only Catwoman. Wants to meet Julie Newmar, even though he has several signed photos already. Well, yes. Like I said, she had conversations with every person that came up, asked how they were. I mentioned that I think my dad saw her in a road show of Damn Yankees when it came to Philadelphia. And she's like, oh, well, what does your father do? She is so much fun. And she was also in an episode, my favorite episode of Buck Rogers, Flight of the War Witch, which was a two-parter. Buck Rogers was so nice. It was just Flight of the War Witch Part 1, Flight of the War Witch Part 2. None of this double names for 2 episodes. She was also in my favorite episode of Buck Rogers. That's another, let's see, Buck Rogers Star Trek tie-in should be like ridiculously easy. And it is Barbaluna, Mirror, Mirror, and a couple episodes in the 3rd season of Buck Rogers. Let's see. She was in Bewitched and played a cat, of course. Yes, that was a great Buck Rogers episode. First of all, I always loved Princess Ardala. I thought she was great, so anything she was in was amazing. But put her up against Julie Newmar, and she's like teeny tiny. What was it? You were but. Wait, how's that go? I am a queen where you are but a child. Yeah, she was great. That headpiece. I asked her about that headpiece. That's all she remembers from the episode was that big old headpiece that she wore the entire time. And like I said, she was also in an episode of The Monkees. But yeah, Buck Rogers has the Star Trek tie-in through the one and only incredible Barbara Luna, who was Query in 3 episodes of the 3rd season of Buck Rogers. and was in Mirror Mirror. She was the chick that tried to kill the captain, and I can't remember her damn name. But I had the pleasure of meeting Barbara back when I was did the Hollywood show. She was actually right across from us, and she is a force of nature. That one. If you ever have a chance to meet Barbara Luna, just to look at her table, her pictures. She needs 2 tables for her pictures because she's. That's right, Tasha Yar. There we go. Another one. Tasha Yar was Sela's mom. More Denise Crosby references. Love how you can get. That's the best way to get somebody back. You kill somebody off, and then you just bring them back as their own child. I mean, they did it in Wonder Woman when they moved from World War II to the present day. They just made Lyle Wagner his own son. Marlena, thank you. She played Marlena in Mirror Mirror. I don't know why I forgot that. That's such a great name. Lasso says, I love the animated Batman 66 second movie where Batman gets drugged, looks up, and sees 3 Catwoman. Yes! Yes. For those of you that don't know, there are 2 animated Batman movies. I actually got to see the premiere of one the first time I went to New York Comic Con. Lasso can help me out. I think it's like I think it's literally like the return of the Batman and then something else. But Burt Ward, Adam West, and Julie Newmar all reprised their roles for 2 of these movies. And then the people that they got to fill in the blanks for the Joker and the Riddler and the Penguin did such justice to Cesar Romero and Frank Gorshin, who was in an episode of. Who can tell me what episode of TOS Frank Gorshin was in? Let's have some trivia fun. Who can tell me what episode of TOS Frank Gorshin was in? But the voices of the Joker, the Riddler, and the Penguin really did justice to the actors Burgess Meredith, Cesar Romero, and Frank Gorshin that played them. Cesar Romero was in an episode of Buck Rogers. See how it all like just flips around. Frank Gorshin was in the WWT. That's right. He played the evil toy maker in the Wonder Woman TV show. That's right. That was a great episode. Speaking of robots, he made a robot Wonder Woman. Let this be our last battlefield. That is correct. Ding, ding, ding. Robert gets the prize. Let this be our last battlefield. He was one of the half white, half black aliens. That was a great episode. Frank Gorshin is such a physical actor. I just love when he was the Riddler. I just loved watching the way he moved around. And it was the same thing on Let This Be Our Last Battlefield, which actually was redone as an episode of Enterprise that was just on again. It's the one with the people that think that the makers are deities and the spheres and all that. Same basic principle. Yep, Janine gets it too. Someone give Robert Plant an ice cream sandwich. Have one on me up at Rhode Island Comic Con. I don't know if I'm going to make Rhode Island this year. I went once to go visit with John Glover, but I haven't been back since because my summers actually get full with planning for Vegas, and I'm probably going to be working shore leave again this year. I promised them I would. So, and shore leave already has some really great. They had Robbie Duncan McNeil, who had to cancel last year because he got sick, which was good for me because that's how I ended up with John Billingsley on the podcast, because that's where I originally asked him about the podcast. And there is going to be a Trek Talks 3. Don't forget. One more shout out to the amazing Trek Geeks podcast network that puts on Trek Talks. Obviously, they're probably already planning for year 3. It's amazing. Sci-Fi Sisters are amazing. Everybody at Roddenberry is incredible as always. And Rod Roddenberry himself, obviously, willing to match whatever you raise. So it was an amazing show to watch. I am completely jealous of Mars DeVore, who is somebody that I know. She's here every now and then. I know her from the Shuttlepod show. She won a prize. I don't remember which prize she won, but congratulations to Mars, because I'm totally jealous. I would have loved to have had the money to donate so that I could have tried to get the Magic Castle, the evening at the Magic Castle with Bonnie Gordon and John Billingsley, because that would have been such a fabulous evening. I am a huge Magic fan. Penn and Teller are some of my favorites. If they were ever around during STLV, I'd almost consider like trying to go. I saw them. They have their own theater in the Rio. For anybody that's never been to the Rio in Las Vegas, Penn and Teller had their own theater, and I saw them there. And then at the end, they sang At the end, they sign autographs. So I actually have Penn and Teller's autographs around here. I just adore them. I think that they're fantastic. The Magic Castle. Yeah, the Magic Castle. It's an amazing. It's like a clubhouse for magicians. It's like members only magic Magic Country Club, Magicians Club. I don't know what to call it. It's just fabulous. It's out in LA. I think it was in an episode of Lucifer. The last time I saw anything about it was in an episode of Lucifer. Okay, so anything else we want to talk about with moms? I think we've covered like the mom gambit and the whole IDIC and being able to identify with some mom-child relationship. At some point in Star Trek, I would be very surprised if everybody who's sitting here did not watch something and go, yes, I see me and my mom in that. Penn and Teller were awesome. I got to sign photo when they were in Babylon 5. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I love that they act like they just show up in things. Like, like you're just watching something do, and there's one Penn. And what was it? Oh, Big Bang Theory. Teller was in the Big Bang Theory, and every time he opened his mouth to talk, Kathy Bates overtalked him. I love when they do little things like that. But I actually have heard him talk because he will talk. When you come out to sign autographs, he doesn't. That's just his stage. But no, they're amazing. I don't know if their theater's still there with the whole revamp of the Rio. I hope it is. Like I said, this was long ago and far away, but I did actually go to see their show once at the Rio, and it was fantastic. I never recommend ever planning anything for STLV. Did he? Oh, well, there you go. That's awesome. I don't watch The Masked Singer. I know Shatner got voted off The Masked Singer, but that's about as far as I know about The Masked Singer. Just because we're talking about Vegas and I'm excited about Vegas, especially since now, because I changed my flight to LA, I've got money to spend on a plane ticket to Vegas that I didn't have. So I'm excited. If you want to do something else in Vegas, listen to the sound of my voice. If you want to do something else in Vegas besides the Star Trek convention, then come to Vegas early or leave Vegas late, because you never know what autograph sessions are going to be when until you get there. And you do not want to have tickets for something that starts at 9 o'clock at night on the Strip, only to find out that that autograph that you absolutely have to get 100% needed to finish off your collection, and that autograph is happening at 6 o'clock, and you're going to be at the end of the line because you're a general admission ticket holder. So don't ever plan to do anything in Vegas during the convention. Don't plan it. If you get to the convention and you find out that someday you're going to be done at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you're like, well, what the hell am I going to do? That's what the concierge at the hotels are for. And head over to the concierge and find something else to do. But don't ever make a plan before the convention, show up, and then find out that everything that you wanted to do at the convention is later than you thought it was going to be, and you really wanted to go see Cher or Shania or whoever is going to be in residence there at the time. I don't know, Donnie and Marie, I think, still have a residence over at the Flamingo. I don't know. But anyway, that's always my advice to anybody that wants to do anything. Like, dinners are easy. Like if you want to have a special dinner somewhere, then just go, show up, go, oh, okay, this is the night I have free. Yeah, I said Cher Lasso. Of course I said Cher, Vegas. Yeah, but that is always my advice. If you want to do something in Vegas, come in a day early, leave a day later, and plan something for a night that is not the Star Trek convention, because you don't want to. And I say this from experience, because the first year that I worked at Vegas, I worked the auditorium. So I was there the entire night when the lines for the autographs were like out the door, and I was working the lines, and I heard people, oh my God, I've got tickets for this. I didn't realize it, that it was going to be this long. And, you can't really bump people in line because of their poor planning. So I can't exactly say, okay, well, let me bump you to the front of the line because you guys didn't realize that you shouldn't have gotten these show tickets without knowing what the deal was with Vegas. So that's one of the takeaways from my very first year in Vegas, and something that I share as many times as I think I can for people within the sound of my voice. I don't, I think it goes true for any convention. If you're going to go to the convention, go to the convention. And don't really plan too much outside of the convention because you don't know what their schedule is usually until you get there. And you don't want to find out that your favorite person who's only going to be there one day isn't getting there until later in the afternoon. And you need to be online for their tickets, but you made dinner reservations or you did something, and you're going to miss out on something because you're waiting in line. So that's why I always tell everybody, always plan to just be at your convention, and then anything else you want to do, schedule days before and days after. And I know that can be hard with getting vacation time and everything. Yes, I did. I said Cher. I happen to be a very big Cher fan. What does Cher have in common with Star Trek? If I Could Turn Back Time was written by Diane Warren, who wrote the theme to Enterprise. So even Cher has a Star Trek connection. And on that note, boys and girls, thank you for joining me. Thank you guys for finding me. I am so sorry that I screwed this up. I'm going to fix it next week if I am still using this same platform. I promise I will be back on my NX7062 regular old platform. This video will be going up to the NX7062 platform. I apologize to anybody that was hanging out and didn't know where I was, but you're going to get to see this. And leave who your favorite Star Trek mom is in the YouTube comments. So guys, thank you so much. As always, I really appreciate you being with me. And because this stupid thing does not, for whatever reason, have the videos that it was supposed to, I'm just going to do a dry sign out. But guys, thanks so much. Oh, you're very welcome, Nancy. Thank you always for coming. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You too, Robert. You have a good night. Yes, Chat Pack 2.0. War Dog's probably wondering where I am. I have a feeling I might have an email from War Dog somewhere. Yeah, so, and don't forget to follow me on all the socials, and I am on Patreon. Just look up the NX7062, and you can find me on Patreon. Support the show. Help me maybe pay for a better platform than this one. I don't know. Anyway, guys, thanks so much. I will see you all next week, and until then, please remember to live